welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, we're talking about roast theories. Which roast theory should I choose? I'm getting this question. You know, I want to remind everyone that I'm not a teacher. Because I make content, it may seem like it. All right, but I'm just like you. I love coffee. I roast coffee as a hobby. I decided not to pursue it as a career, although I was taking steps to do that. I was trying to I was playing with the idea of how do I get SCA certified? How do I do everything SCA over here? You know? So I'm not doing that anymore. Okay, this is purely a hobby. This is purely out of the love for coffee. Is just roasting the best damn cup of coffee that I can do, sharing that with others, and then kind of chatting with other like-minded people, okay? But I'm not trying to be a teacher. There are plenty of great resources for you to explore if you want to go to that route and, maybe become an educator or go into coffee as a career. That's not here. Here is just come hang out with me, let's talk about coffee, and I'll show you what I'm doing, okay? Just as a reminder, just because I feel like it is kind of my little responsibility to not play with people's emotions. Because I know how frustrating it could be when you're first starting to learn roasting and there's not a consensus, or it's hard maybe to find a consensus. I wasn't there too long ago. It's maybe been I don't know, going on 4 years now that I was starting to just gather whatever I could, and I was obsessed with reading every piece of content that I could about coffee. There weren't really channels like this for sure. That's another reason why I do it. And hopefully somebody can just pick up something, helpful for them. But yeah, I remember what it was like when you're so thirsty for knowledge and just trying to do a good job, Once you learn about where coffee comes from, you get this incredible surge of oh my God, I don't want to mess it up. But you will mess up, okay? You will accept it. It's just a part of the game, so to speak. Nah, not the game. I don't want to belittle it. It's part of the journey of becoming a coffee roaster, okay? So that kind of brings me to this feeling of all right, I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm not trying to stand up on some pedestal or anything like that. It only seems like that maybe because I put content outline regularly. And I think we're a small group of people, So I don't want you to pedestalize anything that we do here. This is purely anecdotal, and I'm just sharing what I'm doing over here, okay? And hopefully it jogs your brain to go do what you need to go do in your realm, with the roaster that you have, okay? So with that being said, let's talk about roast theories and which ones you should choose. So I always talk about you should choose what works for you. I don't know what you got going on in your situation, your budget, your environment, your weather, the green that's available to you. I find this really interesting in that one of my roaster buddies, he deals with coffee that is very low elevation and high moisture level. And I was like, whoa, that's tough. I think that would be tough for me to roast. It would be tough for me to kind of wrap my head around it. Well, one, I haven't done it, so that's just my assumption. But it seems like it would be difficult. You have to roast something gently, but also actually need a lot of energy to maybe unlock it. I don't know. Something that's high moisture but low elevation, I think that might be a little tough. It might be tough to get away from just roasting it long and slow, and going into medium territory without, I don't know, just an assumption. So yeah, our variables, the roaster that I have, the roaster that you have, the environment that you inhabit, the green that you have available, the power of your roaster, how much energy that you have at your disposal and how responsive that energy is can be different, right? So it's really hard to like one-to-one teach somebody how to roast something, if you don't have the same exact like variables going into the equation. All right. So that's definitely not what we're trying to do. What I'm trying to do is share what I'm going through. Because really it's a very trial and error, almost very, just basic scientific method in terms of roasting coffee. I think, therefore, I do, test, and repeat. That's really all it is. And so you'll become a little scientist and start running your experiments to see what kind of coffee you can produce or roast and see if you can make it better, the best that they can be. I mean, I hope that's your goal as a roaster. So with me, I seem to just go based on everything that I've learned, and it's not a lot. I haven't had that much exposure to coffee world. In fact, I stay on my little island over here, and I feel like I've learned what I needed to learn enough to where I can begin to teach myself. And I call it sort of like intuitive. I've heard this before. Somebody else named that, but intuitive roast theory. I think Mike said it. It's just like you kind of basically know how to roast the coffee. You're applying heat to the coffee. You're turning it brown, and you know how your machine works and its own capabilities. And intuitively, based on this past experience with your roaster and the types of green that you can get, you can basically take it from green to brown in your own way, your own style, just naturally going through the motions. You've built up some sort of system or theory that can take your coffee from green to brown, and that you actually like to drink it and others like to drink it too, right? Pretty basic, so pretty just intuitive, and not discounting everything that you've learned from either big industry teachers, Rao, for example, to, I don't know, YouTube channels like this, So taking all of that into consideration, there's no exclusion here. It's like just taking what works for you, okay? And I think that's really important, because I think it's easy to maybe idolize something, but because you don't have the same variables going into the equation, you're not going to get the same answer, and it would maybe frustrate some. And it definitely frustrated me for a long time until I understood that, that, hey, my variables are different, so I need to do what's right for me based on my variables. Again, the variables are your roaster, your green that's available to you, weather, environment, all that stuff. So, yeah, like, I think the obsession with data can come down a couple notches, and just focus on the taste, the flavor, what's in the cup, things like that. Now, if you're in an industry where data and things like that are more important, then cool. You're just doing what works for you. You're in that environment, right? But we're in a home roasting situation over here. It ain't that serious. So I'm speaking to those people, and you'll need to do whatever you need to do to make the sale. Eventually, if you're in the business of coffee, you're going to do what you need to do to make your sale, because everybody needs to make a living. It needs to be a win-win, right? So I get that. I totally get that. I have the luxury of this not being my main source of income. It's definitely not. But just speaking on that, this like obsession with a theory or obsession with a data point or something like that, I think there's a larger picture to be appreciated, which is just producing a good cup of coffee, and then maybe, if you're lucky, sharing it with somebody who's cool. Okay? That's it. I don't know. I was just thinking about like how wound up I can be with thinking about theories and data points, and making my curve look a certain way, and how sort of like sucked into that I can be, and sometimes not even realize it, you know, because every time I get a new coffee in, I'm like, okay, how's the best way to roast this? Sometimes I find myself just sort of blanket roasting everything. And I have to stop myself and be like, whoa, 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 wait, is this the best way to roast this? Or am I being lazy? Am I being in a hurry just to get this out to make the sale, right? And I'm sure many people feel that way, where it's like, how do I balance making the sale, running the business, and being an artist about my coffee, or being caring about my coffee and being the best roaster I can be? I'm sure there many roasters or many business owners sort of feel that push and pull, that tug between entrepreneur and just like human being. And entrepreneurs are human beings, but just like, you know what I'm saying? I can say that because I do it, okay? I often feel that tug, 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 tug. Anyway, cheers. Dawn Vic is in the cup. We've got Tiger Claw, which is my my Omni roast, and that is doing surprisingly really well. And the theories that I had behind this roast and how it's performing on the site is really cool. So thanks so much for supporting and helping me run, and just kind of making sure that it kind of like pays for itself, which is cool. So thank you. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.